Welcome to the MOMocrats Mama Chat podcast. I'm Karoli Coons, and this is Aliza, and we're both from Crooks and Liars, and Donna is still on vacation, and we might, again, maybe have a special guest. We'll find out. If she pops in, she pops in. We'll find We'll see. So, hi, Aliza.
I haven't talked to her in a while, so.
I know, right?
I miss her.
I know, seriously. So, hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. The little public service announcement. Anybody who has breasts, go get your yearly mammogram. Do your thing. I just got back from getting mine, and it was. I've had a bunch of them. I've had a bunch of mammograms, not breasts. I've had the same breasts my whole life, but it was one of the least painful ones I've ever had. It was really surprisingly painless. So, which tells me they don't have to be as painful as some of them have been. Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's, even when they're like deeply uncomfortable, it only lasts for 5 seconds, and you can handle it. Just go do it. Get it done.
Yeah.
And so
You
there
won't
you go.
regret it.
My little public service announcement. Go do it. Get your colonoscopy,
Indeed.
get your stuff done, get all that stuff
Get
done.
your COVID boosters.
Your COVID booster.
Depending, I think if you're over 65 or immunocompromised, you can get your COVID booster.
Yeah,
Another
you can
one.
get another one if you've already gotten the bivalent, you can get another one if you're
right.
If you're immune.
So welcome to Who's Responsible for the Debt Default.
Okay, explain for me what the 14th Amendment has to do with the debt ceiling. Why am I hearing that Democratic senators are anxious or urging Joe Biden to use the 14th Amendment as a go-around for the Republicans who are being intransigent?
Okay, so Ian Millhiser at Vox.com has a great explainer on this, and I will not be able to explain it as well as he does, but there is one clause in the 14th Amendment that says that the U.S. debt shall not be questioned. In other words, depending on how you read it, and I mean, I read it and it seems pretty straightforward to me. It certainly sounds like that we can't default on the debt, period.
Right.
I mean, that Biden will just have to do whatever he have to do to not make that happen. The problem, and the history of this goes back to, and this is where I'm not going to explain it well, but you should definitely go and visit Ian Millhiser's post on this, because the history of it goes back to the Civil War and the concern that the South would force the North to default on the debt in retaliation for them, for basically the South losing the Civil War and having to agree to all these amendments to get back into Congress. So
nothing has changed, basically.
Right. That we're fighting the next Civil War with the debt default. Absolutely. So senators are saying, well, look, Biden, go ahead and invoke the 14th Amendment and then mint the coin or whatever, something, because you have to put some kind of guarantee underneath the debt. And we've done it with bonds. We've done it, just in general. And I mean, part of me wants that to happen because I'm sick of Republicans pulling this shit all the time. But what's going to happen if that happens, right? The Supreme Court is going to go boom right to the Supreme Court. And I know that there's been, like, Jamie Raskin has argued that nobody has standing other than Biden, so it couldn't go to the Supreme Court. But you know what? They'd find a way. They always find a way, right? The Supreme Court finds a way to actually say, well, yeah, we can get involved in this case if we want to, right? And others, they say, oh, well, no standing. So I mean, they'd find a way, and then you would have the Supreme Court basically ruling against Biden, and it would make a mess for everything. So in the meantime, what happens is Social Security benefits and so on and so forth. So Jason Furman, who used to be, I think he was Biden's economic advisor
Okay.
at some point in Obama's tenure, basically said he thinks there's strong arguments for the 14th Amendment, but he doesn't feel like that they should be invoked. He feels like they should be not done, and the debt ceiling just passed cleanly and everything. And of course, we have Jake Sherman out there. Jake Sherman, for those of you who don't read all the things, is from Punchbowl News. And this guy, Dave Dayen, did a great article on him yesterday, basically exposing him for the Republican, mouthpiece that he is.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he's just that's all he is. He basically gets his talking points from Republicans and goes and prints them like he did journalism or something. And he gets paid a lot for that.
Yeah.
It's gross.
It is gross.
It's
Just so
seriously gross.
awful.
It's just access journalism at its worst.
Yeah.
So read Dave Dayen's article on that at the American Prospect. It's great.
Yeah.
But he's, basically out there parroting Republican talking points, which are, that the talks stalled, and there's, they're not going to come to an agreement, and blah 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 blah. In the meantime, we've got pollsters out there doing polling, and then the polling is basically blaming Biden, saying that he should cave.
I'm so sick of
To
the polling.
I know, I'm too, and I'm told this is a very, very reliable pollster, and I'm like, look, I don't actually doubt the numbers. I just think to myself, if 57% of Republicans think that Biden should cave, and Republicans are 30% of the population,
Yeah.
uh,
Why are we
why are
caving?
we bothering? Why are we going to
Why are we
cave to
caving
that?
to 15% of the population?
Right. Exactly. So I mean, that poll was disturbing, but I
Yeah.
mean, who needs a social safety net? I guess that's what they're trying to say. Screw the people who have Medicaid, and now you're supposed to be sick and also work so that you can have Medicaid. Fuck that. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
They
Oh,
want to work.
I dropped the first the first F bomb, didn't
Yay! It wasn't me.
I?
Donna, it wasn't me.
It wasn't you, it was me.
Yeah. They want grandma to be working at, the checkout line at the grocery store so that she can earn her Medicaid. That's
Yeah. I mean, that's just disgusting. It's bad enough that states haven't expanded Medicaid.
yeah.
That there's still states out there who
The
haven't,
Republican
but to
state.
actually cut it back and put work requirements in it is just I mean, it's inhuman. And by the way, I mean, these are the people that are big spenders when it comes to tax cuts, right?
Right.
They want, the billionaire tax cuts to be
Right. The billionaires
forever.
shouldn't have to work. Right.
Right. Right. And I will say, in a little bit of criticism of Democrats, they should have raised the debt ceiling when they had majorities in both houses.
Right.
They should have done it and made it a non-issue for 2
Yeah.
years, and they didn't. And that's bummer, because it would have.
Why didn't
I
we?
mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know if it was because Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema put the kibosh on it, which is possible.
Yeah.
I truly don't know why, but it seems to me like it would have been the smart thing to do to avoid this mess
Yeah.
and everything. And because the other problem is that we have Trump out there, right? Just like shouting shit into the void,
Yep.
right? And default, because the guy who doesn't pay his debts basically
Oh,
is in
sure.
all
He's fine
caps.
with defaulting.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, he's super okay with that because, even though he signed a debt ceiling increase 3 different times into
Yeah.
being, he's super
Yeah.
okay with
He didn't
us
want it to
defaulting.
happen when he was president.
Well, of course not. And so there's enough wackos out there who still follow him. I mean, they shouldn't be allowed to vote. I'm sorry. But they shouldn't be. I mean, he's just like a menace. He's a menace to society. So he's out there screaming that shit into the void, and also ranting about Jack Smith, which tells me that Jack Smith must be getting close to doing something, which is very exciting. And, it's just one of his attorneys, one of his top attorneys left that was handling the Jack
Yeah,
Smith case.
yeah. I forget the guy's name, but yeah,
I can't remember it either. I don't think it matters. It's just another one of his many attorneys that he doesn't pay
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
he doesn't
But that's
believe
not
in
why he
paying.
left. That's not why he
No,
left.
no, I don't think that's why he left either. I mean, I think what I've heard is that basically, if you're a good attorney like he is, you give advice and you say these are the things you need to do. And if your client just goes ahead and does whatever the hell he wants to do anyway, right? Like stand up and confess that he took classified documents on
Right,
CNN,
right,
right? If he
right.
does
That's
that, then
well,
it's like, okay,
yeah.
adios, buddy. I don't know what to say.
Matter of self-preservation at that point, you know?
Right. Yeah. So it's just silly. So, yeah. So he's out there just basically stirring the shit in the background and everything. And, his followers are, I'm certain, just very happy for him to be doing that. And so that is going on.
Yeah,
The whole debt ceiling negotiation, which is bad. But in the meantime, I mean, if you want to talk about Republicans being a crime ring, let's just talk about Rudy
Rudy
Giuliani for a minute,
Giuliani.
shall we?
Oh, I can't stomach the
The
things I'm
details,
reading, the details of what the sexual abuse that
allegations, yeah.
allegations that he's
Mm.
accused of. I can't stomach it.
But
Um,
you can't make it up either. I mean, that's the thing. That's what
I
makes
don't
it so
doubt it.
gross.
Yeah.
Is
Oh no,
that
it's
there?
perfectly in line with
Yeah.
with what you saw on Barat
Hmm.
and what the crowd that he runs with.
She
And
put the Borat screenshot in the actual lawsuit
did she
of him.
really?
Yeah, she did because she said that's what he would do to me too. He'd lay down on the bed and just expect me to do whatever. I cannot imagine working in that environment. I mean, I have my share of stories about being harassed, but they were not on an ongoing basis every single day of the year
Yeah,
for 2 years. And I understand why she stayed, just so everybody who wants to get judgy about this understands.
yeah,
She had come out of 2 abusive relationships. She needed legal help. He promised her pro bono legal help. She
yeah,
has a
yeah.
copy of that in there. And then he took advantage of her being in that situation.
Right.
And I'm telling you, if you've been in an abusive relationship and this person comes along and this man and wants to be a hero,
Yeah, offers to
yeah,
help you.
you're going to do it and you're going to submit. I'm sorry. I mean, it's not always, but it's just as likely
It's
as
not.
not.
It's part. I mean, it's part of the. It's part of the mindset, and
Right.
it's not surprising, and it's not her fault.
Absolutely not her fault.
It's the fault of the people who are trying to take advantage of her.
Right.
And it's the whole, why did she put up with it kind of thing is just is bullshit.
Yeah.
So, what how when you're once you're in the situation, you face a whole gauntlet of horrible, horrible possibilities if you try to get yourself out of it.
Right.
So the question of, why did she stay in it is a pointless, destructive, counterproductive, um not to rhyme spontaneously on the show, but
Yeah.
it's it's a I I discount anybody who goes in that direction with this.
Yeah, I
So
100% agree. I mean, you don't understand what people's motives are for putting up with it. And she put up with a lot in that 2-year period. A lot. I mean, she put up with deferred pay in that. I mean, let's start with
unbelievable.
that. He's
Yeah.
like, yes, I'm going to pay you, but not until my divorce is final. because I mean, she had her own business, so she was. I don't know if she was contracting with them or she was an employee. I don't know which it was, but the deal was the trade-off was that he would do the free legal for her, and he put that in writing. It was in writing. So everything that happened after that,
Yeah.
all of the, it's like he had her in the pleading. It says, from the minute he met me, he wanted me. That's what he said to her. So he didn't even really care about. He took advantage of her vulnerability to sexually abuse her. Yes, all of these are allegations and they have to be proven in court. But I'm
Right.
here to tell you that if you read this pleading and you've ever had one experience, even one, it will ring true to you from start to end.
Which also begs the question, this kind of behavior is not something that only happens once on the part of the abuser.
Exactly.
We talk about her having come out of two abusive relationships and being vulnerable to falling into a third.
Hmm.
Giuliani, this sounds like, he sounds like he was pretty attuned to how to figuring out who to, on whom to prey.
Yeah,
And so that begs the question, who else is out there who has been abused by him?
right.
You
And
know,
I think he is a predator. And I mean, in addition to that level of misbehavior of his, in 2008 and 2009, when I was researching sort of the rat fucking that was going on with Obama
yeah,
and everything, all the roads led back to Rudy Giuliani's 2008 campaign. All
really,
of the people that were doing it were involved in his campaign, and they were
really,
the worst of the worst. They were just scum.
wow,
So, I mean, he is.
unsurprising, but
It isn't. I mean, he had it good. He should have just left it at where it was with being America's mayor and,
what is this?
traveling around and bragging about, how he took care of New York after 9/11, and he would have been fine, but he got, greedy and flew too close to the sun, in my opinion. And now he's going to get sued, and it's going to be just about the same as it was for, you know, for Trump.
For Trump?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
who's her lawyer?
I don't know. Actually, it's not that one, but it's somebody.
It's not Gloria Allred.
It's not and it's not the one that represented E. Jean Carroll either. It's another one.
Pretty high profile, right? It's like escaping
Hmm.
right now.
Right.
Um, but anyway, ugh.
I know it's icky. I mean, I read it's a 70-page lawsuit. I think I read 35 pages of it, and I just couldn't do anymore. It was just, I mean, I felt like if I read more of this, I'm going to have nightmares tonight about
Yeah, yeah,
this stuff because it's just too. It's abusive, is what I mean. It's on so many levels
yeah.
abusive.
So triggering.
Yeah. So, I hope that he rots, honestly. I hope that, he's bankrupt and, his ex-wives suck out whatever she doesn't get and, that he that he lives his days in infamy somewhere. I mean, I
Infamy
read,
and misery, 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 with no access to scotch, and I just,
right?
I just,
Scotch and cigars. Did you hear like $12,000 a month on cigars?
oh no, I didn't see, I didn't hear that.
Dude, it's like nuts. It's crazy. And there
Twelve
was
thousand dollars a month on cigars, and yet work requirements for Medicaid.
right, exactly. That's what
I
I'm
can't
talking about. It's like why
reconcile these things. These people are so twisted, greedy.
greedy, right? I
They're
mean,
so
there's never enough for them. There always
never,
has to be more.
and
It,
and
it's
and but God forbid, a person who has worked there, 40 years of their adult life, and retired and put their money into Social Security and put their money into whatever, pensions when they had it, whatever, and
Hmm.
retired at, they're 70 and above or whatever. No, they got to go back to work if they want Medicaid.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I mean,
Well, so Medicare and Medicaid are two different things. But Medicare will be cut too. I mean, they'll force cuts to Medicare too, so that if you want a certain medicine, you won't be able to get it because, yeah, that's the what's evil about that bill that uh, McCarthy passed
uh,
is that it's just across the board 22% cuts, excluding defense.
oh, of course,
So
excluding parents.
right. So it excludes so it cuts veterans benefits, veterans health benefits,
Right.
Medicaid, Medicare, all of that. Yeah. And the work requirements are for Medicaid. So
So
imagine
make
that you're
more
making,
veterans. Don't make more veterans, but cut their, because
right, cut their benefits.
we're
Right.
not cutting defense, but we're going to cut the veterans' benefits.
Benefits. But if you say that, they'll like, oh, we're not cutting veterans. That's a lie. You lie and everything. But it's not a lie. It's
It's
actually
right
what will
there.
happen
Yeah,
because, yeah.
because veterans, I mean, are on these programs.
Right. So I mean, June 1st is the drop dead date. I'm going to be in Maui on June 1st. I'm just saying. They better not default. That's all I'm saying. I mean, because I'm thinking about stuff like, okay, the FAA, for example, 22% cuts to the FAA. That could be devastating
When are you
in a
supposed to
big
come?
way on the second.
You might want to extend your stay a little.
Yeah, right. I know. So, but I mean, they're going to take it down to the wire, and the problem is we're going to get a downgrade again. Moody's is going to downgrade us, so all the interest rates are going to go up and all that shit because they are so fucking selfish and their funders are so selfish. And Kevin McCarthy is beholden to batshit crazy people like Marjorie
Oh,
Taylor Greene and
yep.
Matt Gaetz and all those people. So I continue to believe that Democrats will put forth a clean debt ceiling, and a
Hmm.
few sane Republicans, there are sane, not reasonable, but sane
Yeah.
Republicans,
Although,
specifically in New York and some in California, who will vote for a clean debt ceiling raise because they know that if they didn't, their careers would be done.
yeah.
And that's really what ought to happen.
It should
And it'll
happen
go.
already. I mean,
It should happen already. Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
but they like to make us crazy.
Oh, that was one of the things that Trump said. Something like they do this to us. Excuse me? Never.
They?
Us, Democrats, they do this to us. Never,
Oh,
not
right,
once.
right. Like the Democrats are doing this.
Yeah, not once. Not once. That's just a bald-faced lie. So, but I mean, are you surprised?
That paragon of virtue? Yeah, I'm
Right?
shocked.
I know. It is
Yeah.
shocking.
Um, Speaking of him, the
Mhm.
that he had a real a gem of a tweet, a gem of a Truth Social, whatever they call them, uh,
Yeah.
bragging about Roe v. Wade and
Oh,
how
yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
that he's responsible for getting it overturned, and he was so proud. And I, I mean, it made me. I mean, it just makes steam come out of my ears. The
Yep.
more things I see, the things I read, the bans that keep getting passed. There's a heartbreaker in the Washington Post today about a woman. who found out after 15 weeks that her fetus was that her baby wasn't going to live,
I read
and
it.
because it still had a heartbeat, because he still had a heartbeat, um, doctors would not perform an abortion,
Right.
and she was forced to carry to 37 weeks, and they were forced to have the baby and hold him until he died, which was 99 minutes,
It's
while he gasped for breath because he didn't have kidneys or fully formed lungs.
yeah.
And I can't, and this is what Trump is proud of. Trump is proud of putting people through these kinds of things.
He is, because cruelty is the point for him.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
and, and Republicans are proud of it.
mhm.
Republicans are proud that they are inflicting this pain on people, and they you know what killed me is they couldn't even find an urn for the ashes small enough for this baby. And um it's it's unspeakable to me. It is so unconscionable that I don't know. I'm at a loss. I don't know how to handle my emotions and my words when I think of the reality of what that man has and is continues to put people through. Because and then I think about the electorate and the people that couldn't bring themselves to vote for fucking Hillary Clinton, who is the most qualified person ever to run for president. And they instead chose to vote for a pussy grabbing, you know, default, thrice or however many times bankrupt business person, liar, cheat, of a sociopath, racist piece of shit before they would vote for Hillary Clinton.
Yep.
It's, I mean,
I
this
mean,
is,
Hillary aside,
and
it it
he's still
is
the front runner.
it is maddening to me that he, number one, that he has any traction, but specifically that he has traction with religious people. Because I mean, let's be honest, the only reason he is bragging about Roe v. Wade is because there's people out there going, praise Jesus, because, for you, because you did that, and Flynn is out there on his, Jesus crusade thing with, Trump and everything. I mean, this is how they operate, right? He doesn't give a shit about women or abortions or any of that. Trump doesn't. He doesn't care about that. He's just pandering to the people who he thinks are going to get him elected again. And to that end, tomorrow is the March for Life.
Ugh.
And I know, same here. And all I can say is that those people are not out there marching for gun safety. They don't give a damn about life. And I don't care who hears that. I mean, if you're not out there calling for gun safety laws at this point instead of ranting about abortion, you don't give a shit about life and you shouldn't be taken seriously on any
That's
level.
the truth. Have you seen in my fabulous home state of Maryland, there is a man, speaking of gun safety, who objects to the new set of gun control laws that Governor Moore has just signed into law.
Hmm.
Um, and he has been showing up at an elementary school bus stop for the last 3 weeks with a semi-automatic rifle, and just stood there while the kids waited for the bus with his rifle. in protest.
Wow. Wow. I mean,
That's
and you have parents actually out there freaking out about trans kids with something like that going on?
no, I mean, yeah, and the parents are freaking out about that. I don't
Yeah.
mind telling you, they're complaining and freaking out and calling, it's a big deal. But to tell you how sick journalism is, the way the local news teased it was, hear both sides at 11,
Oh, jeez,
I mean,
no.
no, there's not both sides to this. These are young children who are already traumatized by armed shooter drills that they have to do. And
Right.
here's this man with an AK-47 showing up at their bus stop, standing across the street with it and staring them down while they wait for the school bus every day
That's
for 3 weeks.
that is there has to be a way to make that stop. That is
He's
threatening.
terrorizing them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
And
that would if that I don't know, if
And
that
he
were
says,
my
"No,
kid.
I'm just keeping them safe."
Oh, bullshit.
Of course it's bullshit. Of course it's bullshit. He's doing that to protest the guns.
Yeah, and he's probably leading a parade
Madness.
tomorrow against anti-abortion or,
Right.
against
Exactly.
abortion.
It's
Yeah.
madness.
Yes,
It
it
is
is.
fucking madness.
It absolutely is. And it's like I said, if they're not marching for gun safety tomorrow, they're not marching for anything. Because they've already won their, for the most part, they've won their
Yeah,
abortion fight.
Roe's gone, okay?
Right.
You win.
It- right. Well, why don't we make a transition to some
Please.
things that are more encouraging, like Ron DeSantis blowing off Disney and losing $1 billion deal for Florida. That California, we love Imagineering. You just stay right here with us.
Yes,
They were
yes,
going to
yes.
leave California for Florida, and now they're not. And
Oh,
Governor
good. Yeah.
Newsom should send DeSantis a bouquet or something
Yes,
in
really.
thanks.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, that's fun. And
Oh my
and we have to deal with DeSantis in general, or as our colleague Susie likes to call him, Rhonda Santis.
God. Oh.
But I mean, he's unfortunately it's not all good news. But I mean, he's supposed to declare, I guess, his candidacy next week for 2024. Good luck with that. I mean, I just don't see.
He's got nothing. He is so I mean,
He's not a nice person. I mean, he's not, like to be a politician, you have to have some level of charisma, on national scale.
right.
He could probably get away with that where he is, but I mean, keep in mind, he only barely got elected. And in what was it, 2020?
I
Was
guess it
that no, it wasn't. 'Cause he was reelected in 2022, so it would have been
was. Look,
2018, I think,
I'm looking it up.
in the midterms for 2018. So he only barely got elected then. I mean, Andrew Gillum almost won. It was close.
It was 2018. I think you're right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he barely got elected. The last time he was elected in a landslide because he was running against Charlie Crist, and Charlie Crist is not popular in anymore as a governor candidate. I think he was fine in his district where he was, but as a governor candidate, he wasn't cutting it. I didn't think it was that great of a candidate even.
Yeah.
So DeSantis won, but that's not a mandate for,
No, and he won. I mean, he was already. I mean, he had the incumbency, and I don't
yeah.
know.
So bottom line is he's going to be out there in Iowa where you got to shake hands with all the people, and you got to go to the barbecues and the cookouts and
You
all
have to
that
be
stuff.
nice, and you have to. I mean, not the
Yeah.
Trump nice. He's not nice, but he for some reason he holds people in his, you
He had
know,
some level
he
of
has a
charisma.
level of charisma. He has a hold on people. Like
Hmm.
he people want him to like them for some reason.
Yeah, I don't
And
understand it,
no,
but
I
yeah.
don't understand it either, but it's kind of like the popular bully is
Yeah.
is is his appeal.
Hmm.
So people want to be in his orbit. But nobody feels that way about DeSantis. It's not like everybody thinks he's the cool bully guy or,
Right.
he's just an asshole.
Right.
And everybody and
From top to bottom.
nobody thinks he's a cool asshole. Nobody thinks he's the guy. Nobody wants to be around him. Like, oh yeah, he's fun. Yeah, he's kind of mean, and I hope he's not on. I don't get on his bad side, but but I
Right.
do, kind of. I get why girls want to be around him or what. Like it's not like that.
No,
It
it's
it
not.
he's got no personality. He's not smart. He's not
He's mean.
He's mean
I,
to kids. He's mean
yeah.
he's mean to everybody. He's got
Yeah.
no manners. I don't want to like
I
he
know.
treats his wife
Putting
like
fingers.
putting
Yeah.
fingers. He treats his wife like shit. He's just an asshole.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
To put it
nobody
mildly.
and his team doesn't let him out off. He's on such a tight leash.
Yeah.
No, like I've never seen him. He's never ever unscripted. He has no like I think that people are terrified. His people are terrified of him having any kind of normal conversation. I'm just like imagining him campaigning. I'm wondering
Yeah.
what that
I,
might look.
I, I mean, that's the thing. He lacks all the skills to be a retail politician on a national level. So it'll be, and it's not like it's him and Trump, right? I mean, there's other candidates in this field, all of whom, in my opinion, are running for second place.
Right.
DeSantis may be the only one who's not. Or maybe, I mean, Chris Christie's supposed to jump in. So I suppose you could say,
This
I
morning.
know, right? I mean, can we get Ted Cruz while we're at it? I mean, we can go
I
back
know.
to the 22 candidate field. I mean, why
Oh my
not?
God. Well, we
Tim
have
Scott through his,
has Tim Scott declared? Okay,
yeah,
so we
that
have
was
Tim
today.
Scott, Chris
Nikki
Christie,
Haley,
Nikki Haley, um,
the Arkansas guy, whose name I can never think, Asa Hutchinson.
Mike Pence.
Well,
Uh, Do we
presumably
know?
Mike Pence. He hasn't said
Presumably
anything
Mike
yet.
Pence.
Yeah. And,
And Trump and DeSantis.
mhm,
And then who? So no, we already have seven.
right. Well, Ted Cruz can jump in there too.
Ted Cruz.
Yeah, that excellent. I like that.
That was my third finger.
Hmm. I mean, and the Republicans are running these confabs every weekend. So you have, for example, you have Flynn out on this Reawaken America tour. I think probably if I looked, I would find out that Franklin Graham was probably doing something or in the process of doing something. So there's CPAC, which will have two or three conferences. There, in other words, and these are all billionaire backed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're intended to keep the base riled up and hungry so that they'll come out and vote. And in the meantime, you have Ron DeSantis doing things in Florida like banning books and signing into law that trans kids can be taken away from their parents.
Away from their parents.
And yeah, and banning any gender affirming care, which is, gender affirming care is actually something that is approved by, like the major medical organizations and everything. It's, for kids. And somebody said, honestly, at that age, it's just letting them have their own pronoun, with the pronouns they want
Yeah.
and letting them dress the way they want. It's nothing more than that. So what's the big deal? I don't get it. I really honestly do not understand why they're, well, I do understand. I mean,
Someone else
that
pointed out that the
People don't understand transgender, and so that's what they're aiming for. They're aiming for making them the other, making trans people the other, and LGBT people the other. And it's just wrong. I mean, it's utterly, totally, 100% wrong. You don't have to understand it to let it be. I'm just going to tell you that. If you're listening to this and you have a problem with it, you don't have to understand it to let it be. It's not your problem,
you
right?
don't
I
you
mean,
don't have to turn into it. You don't have to
right. I mean, you
how
just have to like care about people. That's
how,
all.
how does it impact anybody else?
Exactly.
How? There are so many other things that actually have an impact on your day-to-day life, like whether or not you can go to a bus stop without being terrorized by a man with a
Right.
semi-automatic weapon, or what.
That just blows my mind. I mean, that's like that. There's no excuse for that, huh?
I'll send you that article.
Yeah.
It Other things, like whether you're going to have to work in order to get your Medicare or
Medical.
Medicaid, that's going to impact you.
Hmm.
Whether all these things impact you, whether you can get health care,
Yeah.
whether I don't know. I just don't understand it. But um and I think what's the I lose track of which state has what. I think Florida signed a 6-week ban on abortion, didn't they? Was that Florida or was that New York?
No, Florida was the 10-week, I think, and North Carolina did a 12-week. I'm not sure where the 6-week one is. Maybe South Carolina,
Maybe,
maybe Alabama. I
yeah.
don't know. I
But
mean,
like
it's
there's so many other things that impact you other than what's in a kid's pants.
right,
There's like there's so many other things. They're
right.
just this
There's
is
other things I care about, and these wedge issues, culture wars, they're all just distractions. They're meant to keep you from caring about the debt ceiling or who's going to suffer because the budget has to be cut. The New York Times has a great tool on it where you can actually do your own budget cuts on it.
Oh
And
yeah, you were saying about this.
yeah,
I need to
I
down
need
because
to find that for you. I cut 4.1 trillion from the budget. I also paid. I forgave all the student loans, and I increased Medicare and Social Security, and oh, I cut defense spending, and
they're not gonna like that.
yeah, I mean, this tool is what would you do if you were king, queen of the world?
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, it's not that easy to get that through, but the point is
Yeah.
that of it, and I think it's a valuable tool for this reason alone, is that it doesn't have to be the way Republicans say. You can cut the budget without cutting Medicare and Medicaid and
Yeah.
Social Security and all those things. You can do it.
Mhm.
And, it's just a question of will. And that's what the Biden budget did. The
Mhm.
Biden budget basically put out a budget that saved over 3 trillion a year. And it cut the deficit. It did all the things that Republicans want to do, right? And the only thing is that it got rid of the tax cuts for the rich, right? That's it and everything. And of course, that's not okay, with Republicans. They're not going to put up with that and everything. But I'll find the link to the tool, and maybe you can throw it on the MOMocrats page since I'm bad at
Yeah. No, no, I'll
that.
do that for sure.
And because it's worth just going through the exercise of seeing where the priorities are. And
Yeah.
our priorities are over here. Their priorities are that billionaires should pay no taxes, that
Yeah.
corporations should pay no taxes.
Yep.
And it's problem right now because they've forced, basically, I think they forced Biden into a negotiation because they framed it as, him not coming to the table, even though he put his budget out and then they waited. And this is the fault of the press because the press doesn't actually
Course.
say, Biden has done
Biden
all the
had a
things,
budget. They did it.
right?
Yeah, they did it. He put
Why
out a
didn't
budget.
they act on Biden's budget back in March when he put it out there?
Yeah.
Why did they wait until May, to start doing it? But because, Kevin McCarthy is, backed by crazy people, he's out there saying, well, Biden didn't come to the table for 100 days and now he wants to get it all done right now. And, it's just,
He's not backed by crazy people. He's owned by crazy
he
people.
is owned by crazy people.
He's
You're right.
owned by them.
Yeah. And they are freaking nuts. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean,
Fucking psycho.
so you saw her latest, right? The
No.
Jamal Bowman. So
Tell me what
she and
happened with that.
Jamal Bowman have what looks to be actually just kind of a kidding exchange with each other, where like by Marjorie Taylor Greene's shouting impeach Joe Biden and he's like, come on, and
Yeah.
it's jovial.
Yeah.
And she goes back and tells the press, he intimidated me. He scared me.
Right. I
Yeah.
did see
All the
that.
racist tropes, right? He's
Yeah.
so scary. The way that he acts is scary. Like she didn't stalk David Hogg and,
Right.
and get in
When he was
AOC's
what,
face and
19 years old? How
and
old was he? He was a
yeah,
teenager.
right. And Cori Bush had to move her office because she was so confrontational with Green and her staff. So, I mean, please tell me more about how intimidated you are. I mean, come on. That's just racist
It's
nonsense.
dog whistle. It's dog
Yeah,
whistle racism. It's just, oh my God.
absolutely.
I hope Bowman called her out. Oh my God.
He did. He was on I want to say, well, it was one of the MSNBC shows in prime time. I watch them all, so I don't always remember which one, but
Yeah, yeah.
um
That's
and he basically said the reason I'm here is because we had what was a friendly exchange and she turned it into racism. So
yeah.
now I have to come and clear the record
Yeah.
because we can't have that.
Yeah. We can't even.
I know, right? It was just absolutely maddening that, and yet from her, I totally expect it. I
Of
mean,
course.
that this is, she exists to be racist.
Yeah.
You know, this is her purpose. And the other racist, Ms. Lauren Boebert, is a little busy right now.
She's well, she's about to become a grandma and she's also about to become single. So
So
she
I thought that baby was due at the end of April, so I would have thought she's
oh
already
maybe
become a
she's a
grandma.
grandma now. Maybe she's a grandma.
Right.
I haven't heard. I wasn't invited to the shower.
Yeah, I wasn't either. And there's been no announcement, but in the meantime, yeah, she filed for divorce. And the rumor has it that she's, hot for Sean Fucht, who is like he's with the Awaken America tour, I think, at this point. So
Also married, right?
he also tours around with Franklin Graham, so I'm not sure it could be either one. Yeah, he's married to a real pretty gal and got some real pretty kids,
Yeah,
little
four of
kids.
them.
Yeah, and she's
Four
got
little
four.
four little blonde kids. What is it with
Yeah,
the
well, it's all
mm.
part of the white supremacy look.
Yeah, I mean they are super Aryan looking, that whole
Yeah,
crew.
they really are.
Oh
So
my goodness. Well, can you want to talk about how Jim Jordan's weaponization of the government hearing went and how Dan Goldman like ate them all for breakfast
I
because
love Dan
we
Goldman.
love Dan Goldman
He's
and
my boyfriend.
he's all of our boyfriends.
I
Me
know.
first. He's from my part of town.
Oh,
You know,
boo.
New Yorker. We love
Yeah,
Dan
he's married
Goldman.
and has kids too, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we're more moral than that. So
Yeah.
yeah, he got two of the witnesses to that they were paid by Cash Patel.
You know, two of the whistleblowers, not just witnesses, they
Oh,
were
yeah, the
whistleblowers.
whistleblowers. Now, were these the whistleblowers they couldn't find, or are we still
No, no,
missing
no.
the
The
whistleblowers?
the informant is who they can't find.
Oh, okay.
That's the other. I mean, this is the other like clown show that's
It
going
is.
on right
It's such a
now,
clown
right?
show. Like they're like, okay, well, produce the informants. Oh, they can't. They don't want to come forward now. What
Right.
are they doing?
Well, James Comer's like, oh, we can't actually find them right now, but we're confident that And you're like,
Okay.
oh, the informant, that
Yeah,
informant, the one you can't find.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the
And so then
whistle.
we have the whistleblowers, and so it turns out that they are paid by Cash Patel, and they were paid a lot. And I mean, the thing that Dan Goldman established was like basically they were out of a job, and so Cash Patel gave them some money so that they could come and testify. It's just, it is, if it weren't so serious, it would be a comedy. I mean, you like, if somebody wrote this as a show, I wouldn't watch it
You
because it'd
wouldn't
be
try
like, this
it.
is so stupid.
No
There's
studio
no
would
way.
produce it because the studio would be like, "Pfft, no one will believe this.
Right.
No one will go for
Who
this."
who would believe it? Yeah. Oh, whistleblowers. I mean, just to give you a sort of a yardstick. I don't know if you're watching The Plumbers,
No, but
but
it's on my list. It's
okay.
on my list. I really do wanna watch it. Is it
Okay,
good?
so yeah, but I mean, one of the things that is driven home over and over again is how utterly clowns these guys are. Clowns. They're just absolutely like wannabe spies that aren't.
Uh-huh.
And like the shit they come up with, right? We're going to get hookers in the room, and we're going to, and they come up with this whole like gamut of things that they could do to the Democrats. And the only one that gets approved, and keep in mind, this is the government, right? I mean, this isn't like outside groups, right? This is Nixon's government.
Yeah,
And the only one that gets approved is this burglary
yeah.
at the Watergate. And it takes them 3 tries to do it, and they can't, and it's just a complete fucking joke. Though every time it's a joke. And it's that is the same as what we're looking at now with Jim Jordan and all these guys. These guys don't know what they're doing. They just want to create a narrative where Biden is a criminal, and so they invented the Hunter Biden laptop thing, which isn't even Joe Biden.
Still, yeah, not Joe Biden, and not even still really
A
a thing
laptop.
as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, like,
It's
but
not a laptop.
it's not
It was a disk image that may or may not have been Hunter Biden's laptop, and may or may not have been obtained legally. It may have been a hack or whatever. And then they basically gave it to this dude, the repair guy, and said, and just to give you an idea of how clownish this is, Rudy Giuliani is underneath all of it. He's the one who had the so think about the Borat, think about all the thing,
yeah.
this is Giuliani. This is what he
That's
does.
his
This
level
is
of sophistication when it comes.
exactly
So what I don't even know what the whistleblowers are blowing the whistle on or claiming to blow the whistle on. What are they?
something about FBI, something like, I don't know. I don't either. I have no clue. It's, FBI weaponized against whatever. And then today there was a report that came out that was in the New York Times and the Washington Post about the FBI using the wiretap,
Uh-huh.
uh, not the wiretap, but they basically get all this stuff from foreign nationals, and
Yeah,
yeah, 702 searches,
yeah.
and they were misusing those searches. So the FBI says, well, you know what, we fixed that. We've changed all the procedures. There's different, it was a misunderstanding about procedures. But all of that took place, all of that FBI activity between 2016 and 2020.
Gee,
Who was
who?
in charge of the
Yeah.
FBI? Who could it be? Who could it be?
Hmm,
It wasn't Democrats. It was Bill Barr, and it
hmm,
was what's his name? That guy I
hmm.
want to forget. Yeah, it's certainly, and Trump was in charge of the whole country. So
Gee.
gee whiz, I don't know what to say. And James Comey was in there for 2016, and the FBI rat fucked Hillary. So I don't know. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
yeah.
So I mean, to me, that that report was released today for a reason. I think it was to make Jim Jordan feel like he did something
Vindicated, yeah.
or whatever, but it to me means very
But I mean,
little. I'm sure
meaningless.
it'll light some people on our side on fire. It
I just
will.
have to make sure my dog's not pooping. Okay.
Okay, no, don't poop in the house. No pooping.
She's having some digestive issues.
Oh, poor puppers.
Gosh.
Have pumpkin. Hello.
She's
Hello,
on
puppers.
a chicken and rice diet right now.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you are. Don't look so guilty.
Yes.
It's not your fault. You just eat poop
Oh,
sometimes. That's okay. Yeah, she's like, don't tell the whole world that I eat poop. Oh.
yeah.
All right, bon appetit, everybody. It's dinner time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, what a
goodness.
good dog.
She's a
She's
good
so
girl.
pretty.
She is good.
Yeah.
So
So,
anyway, and then yeah, we had a couple of fun other moments at Congress with who did we have? Stacy Plaskett and
oh yeah.
Jasmine Crockett, right? And
hmm
who else? There's somebody else. I can't remember her name.
So,
They
because Jim
wanted,
Jordan's a clown and won't turn over like, any of their testimony, any of their depositions or anything to Democrats. It's just ridiculous. It's just the whole thing is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And it's failing, it's flopping.
of
Nobody
course it is.
cares.
Yeah,
So,
nobody cares. It
yeah.
is. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid.
So,
Stupid. So what
yep.
are you watching besides The Plumbers? We have 3 minutes
Well,
left.
so I'm actually like not watching TV because we got Zelda, the new Zelda game, Nintendo,
Okay. So you've been
and it is so fun, and it's such a time suck. It's ridiculous. Like, and our my middle son, who's like really good at the games like this, we're total beginners, right? We just like I've had the game console. It looked like a fun game, so we got it. And we're like wandering around in the tutorial for so he finally came over and like got us up to
got
speed
you
and
set up. Okay.
yeah. So
Wow.
anyway, it's super fun and
I
it's
don't
very
play those
the
games.
the thing I love about it for anybody out there who does is that it is not a slash and burn, kill everything. It's much more problem solving and putting things together. Like you'll probably see images on whatever social network you're on of
Mhm.
people that put interesting things together and take a screenshot and send it because it's so, it's like, I don't know. It's just, there's very interesting ways to get things done. And
Huh.
there's not only one solution. There's lots of creative ways. So it's super fun. Yeah. We have a screenshot of when my son had it. He had a sailboat with 6 fans on the back and these fire breathing things that you get, right? And so it was like flaming down it's hilarious. It's just
Okay.
so super fun.
That sounds
So
like
that's
fun.
what are you watching?
I'm watching Love and Death.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I started watching that and then my husband said, I can't watch this because it's too much like people I grew up with.
Oh,
It was too hard for him to watch it. So I want to watch it when he's not
it's very
around.
good. Very good.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and we are watching. We have a few shows going, but the thing that sucks about the shows we have going is that we can't binge them because they all drop 1 episode a week. We're watching Barry
Yeah.
and The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and Ted Lasso.
Oh, yeah.
We have to wait week to week, so we can't binge anything. And so
We're saving Ted Lasso for when they're all dropped and
yeah,
everything. But
my father
Tim
does
was
that.
watching Mrs. Davis, and
I heard that was
that was
good.
a episode a week. He thought it was great. I thought it was ridiculous. I thought
Really?
I couldn't watch it, but he thought it was wonderful.
The
So,
other thing I heard was really good is The Diplomat. So I want to.
oh, it's amazing. That one you must watch. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. It is. Oh yeah, Kerry Russell is so good in it too.
Yeah.
Yes, you'll love it.
Okay.
Do it.
Okay.
All right. Well, this has been our show. We're pretty much done here. So this is Karoli Coons, and I'm with Aliza Worthington of crooksandliars.com, and we will see you next week. I'll be gone, but Donna will be back. So bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.